Hello, it's Bernadine again. This time, instead of talking about my granddaughter's story, even though that's part of our story, I want to talk about something personally about my story. Just one of our stories, my stories, whatever. Because I've got so many stories, like I said, to talk about. It's just, I can go on forever. And Jesus told me a long time ago, it comes from Psalms 91, and, or Psalms 9:11, sorry. Sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion, declare among the people his doing. He told me that years ago, and I mean, he was giving me these numbers, 9 and 11. I didn't understand what it was about. And there's Proverbs 9:11 too, that he'll give us longer life. And, you know, it's just incredible how it ended up me showing, or you know, I took my grandchildren, we took our grandchildren to the Bible bookstore, and she bought, my one grandchild bought a dream book and took it home, and in that dream book it was, if you see these 9/11s in your dream, then this is what it meant, and that's what it was, is Psalms 9:11 and Proverbs 9:11. And because some prophet, and somebody told me before, maybe you should explain what prophets are. Well, what prophets are, is that when the Lord, there's lots of prophets in the Bible days, lots of prophets still today, false prophets too, and them are no good. That God said there'd be a lot of false prophets in the last days. But anyway, you know, the 9/11 thing was in the dream book, and so, you know, a prophet told me, you know, there's something about 9/11 in your life, and it took me years later to figure it out when she bought this dream book, and so I did, and read through it, and that's what it was. Jesus wants us to sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion, declare among the people his doing, and he has done so much in our life. And we were singing, you know, and I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to do? But I knew, I just didn't feel right in my spirit that my life was just about singing and this and that, because I knew there was more, because I bet, you know, I've had such a lot of things in my life that I want to talk about to help people out there. And so if you people out there have had some addictions or have now, the Lord is there to help you through it all. He just wants to heal you and set you free. And this is what my story is going to be about this time right now. I used to be an alcoholic. And it lasted for 6 years. And that 6 years, actually, when I look back, it seems like it was 18 years. Because there was a lot that took on in that 6 years. There was a lot that happened. And a lot of times when you think about back in your future, you know, back in your past, I mean, that you think, wow, I went through a lot, you know, and I put people through a lot, and you think, wow, you did a lot, you know, and you just, it's amazing when you can help somebody out with that, because everybody has a story. You all have a story out there, and somebody's waiting to hear your story. You know, some of it's not everybody has a drug problem or an alcohol problem. Some people out there might have an anger problem. Some people might have a jealousy problem. Some people might have an unforgiving problem. Some people might have you know, a lustful problem, or just, you know, I mean, there's just thousands of different things that you can come up with, you know, just that hatefulness towards people, you know. Some people might just gossip a lot of times, and people just like to gossip. That's a problem too, you know. I mean, God's totally against gossip. Do you think Jesus sits back and gossiped, or he ever did? No, he did not. He told people not to do those things, you know. There's scriptures in the Bible talking about that. But before I go on more, you know, I said I'm not going to do this bunch of preaching stuff right now. I'm just going to tell some stories. But there's a little scripture I want to read to each one, because it has to do with, you know, what God did for me and whatever. But this is from Romans 12:2. It says, Don't live the way this world lives. Let your ways of thinking be completely changed. And see, that's what I had to do. I couldn't live the way the world was living, the way I was living in the world anymore. I had to make my changes different. I had to change my ways. And it was about 30 years ago, a long time ago. My children were all pretty young, and I was just home one day. They were at school, and something just came on me, you know. At the time I was having, you know, I had maybe a couple of drinks, just mixed drinks, but it was no big deal. It wasn't no habit or anything. And then just all of a sudden, you know, I just started drinking really heavy, and it was, you know, there's more to that, but you got to have more of a mature audience for it. So, but anyway, because I don't know who's watching, whatever, but there's a time for everything, right? But anyway, I become a pretty heavy drinker, and it was like night and day. It just all of a sudden happened to me, and it just flipped my world upside down. I just had to have drinks every day. It got so bad that I would wake up with a hangover, so if I woke up with a hangover, I would drink again, just to get rid of the hangover. Before you know it, I was drinking all day long. And then if I drank liquor, I would get, you know, I could get pretty violent. You know, I'd go out to the bars and get in a few fights here and there and just act just way out of control. Drive home with one eye open like this, you know, and I did some pretty crazy things. This was my first marriage. I'm married, this is my second marriage I'm in now, 18 years. And my first marriage lasted for 22 years, and I did a lot of crazy things in that, you know, when I was drinking. I'd go to the bars, I'd actually not come home on the weekends. I'd go sometimes and bring a guy home in my own house with my husband there at the time. It was crazy. Children would be sleeping. They never knew about that. But I'd bring a guy home a couple of times, you know. I didn't do that very often, because usually I'd just go away for the weekend. And but this is what drugs or alcohol does to a person. It changes your life. So I know when, you know, people out there that are doing these things, I know you have to make these changes in your life. You just got to say, God, help me, you know. Help me with this walk with you, because I need a change, Jesus. I can't live this way anymore. Just like I just read, we have to, don't live the way the world lives. That's Romans 12:2. I mean, you can start before that, but this is what I wanted to start at. Let your ways of thinking be completely changed. And I knew they had to be completely changed, because I would have been destroyed. I could have destroyed my marriage and my family and everything, you know, if I wouldn't have got help for that. But in the meantime, my parents were praying for me, and I know I had others praying for me, but I really had a good praying mother. And she would fast and pray, and it was amazing. You people out there that are praying for your families, don't give up. And anybody out there that has grandparents or parents that are praying for you, you just thank the Lord they're praying for you, because prayers work. And don't give up on praying. If you haven't prayed and talked to the Lord, do so, because it's amazing what He'll do for you. He's done so much in our lives and in my life, and I just want to take it to the world and tell the world what He's done for me. It's amazing. And there's just so much more. I won't go into everything on here, but when I start going to churches and different places, and which we have, but I'm going to get out more. the more of the truth will come. I mean, not truth, there's no, this is all true, but I mean more of the story will get out. But anyway, it became pretty rough, you know, and like I said, I had a praying mom, and I would do a lot of crazy things. I just thank God she prayed, because nowadays if you got caught drinking and driving, you get punished pretty bad. And I would drink and drive all the time, every weekend, going out to the bars, driving like that, coming home like that. Like I said, one eye open, barely seeing double, but made it home by the grace of God. Always made it home. And I'm not saying you people out there that are doing that, keep doing that, don't do that. I mean, don't drink and drive. It's a terrible thing to do that. So many people have died like that. So many people are in prison because of it. It's just a terrible thing to have an addiction, and a lot of you people, you're not, Jesus don't hate you. He's never given up on you, and He never will give up on you. He loves you, and He wants to help you through it. If He helped me and millions of others, He's going to help you. He says He's no respecter of person. What He'll do for one, He'll do for the other. And He said if you were the only one, that when He would have died and when He died and went to the cross, He'd have died just for you. That's how important you are to Jesus. You mean the world to Him. He died for you because He loves you and He cares about you. And Jesus is in the healing business. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He doesn't change. When in the Bible, when you read about the miracles He did, He's still doing them today. He's been doing them. He hasn't stopped. And you know, like, show up Jesus and show off. You know, it's so cool, because that's the way Jesus is. Jesus wants the praise. And He gets the praise from me. My lips will praise the Lord for what He's done for me, because He's done so much and beyond what I could ever, you know, I can't even give it in words to thank Him what He's done. But one of these days, when I go to heaven to be with Him, I'll be able to worship Him. I can worship Him now, and I do. But it'll be, you know, I'm part of the bride. He's coming back for the bride without spot or wrinkle. He wants us. He's longing for His bride. And I want to be clean and spotless. I want my garment to be clean and white when He comes. I don't want to be full of sin and hatefulness and bitterness and all that. I just want to cast it down. Daily, just cast it down daily. Just die to ourselves, give it all to Jesus. It's not about us. It's not about pleasing us. I mean, we have to take care of ourselves. Of course, this is what this is about. It's getting healing to yourself. But give the praise to Jesus when He does something for us. And He sure did. I had not just my praying mom, but I had an aunt too that prayed, and there was this, I mean, there's so much more to tell about this story than what I did in the 6 years. It's just crazy. But I had a praying aunt that when they were having revivals up to one of my cousin's churches, and this guy is actually from the show Hee Haw, and he's an evangelist, and he was going to be up there. He's an evangelist now and travels the world. And he works, you know, he prays for people, and people are set free. And that's, you know, it's amazing when you can go to these healing churches and see people set free. People walk out of wheelchairs. I know a lot of you people out there watching, you don't believe that stuff. But Jesus does the same. Like I said, if you read in the Bible how Jesus even spit in the mud and wiped that mud on the guy's eyes and he could see. I mean, Jesus has done so many miracles. It's all in the Bible. It's all right here. And he's, like I said, He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And He wants to do it for you. But this man was up at the church for like a week, and I had an aunt call me and said, hey, how would you like to go up here and get prayed for? And she kept calling me, and I said, well, call me the next night, call me the next night. So she would, every night she'd call me. And finally, like, there was like 2 nights left. I think it was like a Friday night, and there was going to be a Friday night and Saturday night, and that might have been it, maybe Sunday morning. But anyway, and I said, okay, I'll chance it. Well, I loaded up my husband and my 3 children. I drove, drinking, all the way there. I had my liquor in there, I had my beer, a 12-pack of beer, and my liquor and my Coke, and I drove up there. And, you know, my husband could have drove, but, you know, Miss Bossy Pants had to have her way. You know, when you're drinking a lot of times, that's the way it gets. I know a lot of you people out there, you can vouch for that. You've seen people that been drunk and they want to rule and they know it all and they're the boss, and they just, you know, they get out of control, you know. Well, anyway, we cruised up there, and we were sitting in there. I didn't want to go in. I was too afraid to go in. And she come up to the car and she goes, are you going to come in? Are you going to come in? And I'm like, come back out, and, like, you know, when they start singing or something, come back out when he's done preaching. And she goes, okay. So she'd come back out, and I said, well, when people start going up and getting prayed for, come back out. And she goes, okay. So she came back out, and she said, well, they're going up there and they're getting prayed for. And I said, okay. And we all got out of the car and walked up there, up the steps, into the church. And we sat like about 3 seats from the back. And anyway, the guy was up there. He was praying for people, and God was healing people. It was amazing. The place was packed. And people were being set free. God was healing them. And people out there that don't believe in healing, I know by my own experience. You know, I actually was just talking to somebody today, and this person, they drink. And, you know, when you go to different classes, they say once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Not with me. God set me free. He says, who I set free is free indeed, and the Lord set me free. I will never say I'm an alcoholic. Once an alcoholic and always an alcoholic? No, it's not. Not when Jesus sets you free. When he sets you free, you're free indeed. And that's how it was with me. Anyway, so we sat in the back seat, and I was telling about that lady today that I was talking to, this person. You know, they were saying that they tell you that I'm an alcoholic. This person telling me, and I said, don't say that. I said, don't say that. I said, what you're doing is you're cursing yourself. You don't want to claim that you're something when you speak. Jesus said, like I told you before, our tongue is our worst weapon. And when you speak these things with your tongue, you're going to get what you speak. You know, if you say, oh, I'm ugly on the inside, well, you know what? That's how you're going to feel about yourself, and you're going to look at yourself like an ugly person, like a mean, grouchy old person. Don't look at yourself like that. Say, no, I'm wonderfully, beautifully made. God made me, and I'm a happy person. I choose to be happy. Even if you don't feel that way, start saying it anyway, and watch things change. I guarantee you it'll change for you if you keep it up like that. You keep it up like that, it'll change. It works, because I live by that. My husband and I actually, we watch what we say. We watch what we speak. And if we speak negative things, we say, Lord, forgive us for that. You know, slap our mouth up, because we don't want to, you know, we don't want to live like that. We want to speak positive things, because you're going to get positive things. And so, anyway, I told this person, I said, speak these positive things, and you're going to get what you speak, you know. So that goes for everything in your life. Anyway, so we go up to the I got the nerve to walk up there. I sat there for a little bit, and I got the nerve to walk up there, and it was amazing. I mean, he says, is there anything in your life that everybody had to have smelt me, that I smelt like booze. And he says, is there anybody in your heart that you haven't forgiven? And he said, if there is, you have to forgive them. You have to let it out. And so I did. In my heart, I just said, Lord, I forgive this person. I forgive that person. Until it got down to, I think there's like 4 or 5 people that I just had hard feelings for, and you can't be healed when you have unforgiveness. You have to let it go. I mean, Jesus, he doesn't want you to have unforgiveness towards yourself or anybody else, because it holds a lot of pain inside, and it's hard to get rid of. It's hard to be healed of something if you're full of bitterness and hatefulness and stuff inside. I mean, so many people out there, you've been abused, you've been so battered, and you think, there's no way I'm ever going to forgive that person for what they did to me. And so just, you got to give it to Jesus. And I've already talked on this one quite a bit, so tune in for the second show. And, just next time if you see it on there, click on and watch the continuing. And I just want you to get something off of this, because like I said, I got a lot of stories to talk about, and we'll tell them the rest of it on the next one. Okay? God love you. Bless you.